Okay, I'd like to call this park board meeting for Tuesday, May 16th, 2023 to order. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the May 2nd, 2023 park board meeting. Members should have got those minutes in their packets. Does anybody have any additions or corrections? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
I second it.
Moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Prost. All those in favor, Mr. Burton?
Aye.
Mr. Prost?
Aye.
I am an aye also. That motion carries. And Mr. Dietrich on this. Next item on the agenda is the attorney's report.
All right, first thing we have is a independent contractor for Paul Burris. It's, scuba instructor, where we would be giving scuba lessons either at, I don't know where, the pool or maybe one of the ponds.
Yeah, so it will not be any ponds, so it will be at Freedom Springs. He does it in Blackpool, the diving well. He's probably been with us close to 5 or 6 years. We do an 80-20 split with him. Liability insurance, and we get all that with him as well. So it's just a yearly thing we do. It's just a contractors.
Give Mr. Dietrich a second to get settled here. Okay?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, the independent agreement with Mr. Paul Burris, and he's a scuba instructor?
He's a scuba instructor.
Okay.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions, comments about that? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve that independent contractor agreement with Mr. Burris.
I second it.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, second by Mr. Prost. All those in favor, Mr. Burton?
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich?
Aye.
Mr. Burris?
Prost.
Prost, sorry, I was looking at the contract. Mr. Prost?
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
All right, next one is a use agreement for Naptown Afroganza. I believe it's a celebration of African American culture. I will note in their request to do this, they want there to be selling food, but also they put in there they wanted to serve alcohol beverages. Our agreements do not permit alcohol beverages unless the board expressly approves that. But also they're not a. This is a third party group. They don't have any type of alcohol licenses themselves. So I mean, there'd be a lot of hurdles for them to comply with. Maybe Rob knows more information about that.
I could just piggyback on exactly what Rick's saying. It seems to be a promoter-based event with alcohol sales as well. That is all for profit. There is no beneficiary associated with this. Other than the event notification we do have, we don't have any more information on this event. The timing of it is susceptible to some scrutiny as well. On the 9th of September at 5 a.m. It draws some concerns. The Greenwood Amphitheater, which has close residential housing nearby. It is from the Parks Department, Parks and Recreation, that we do not recommend this event, just based on some of the some lack of the concerns that we have as far as the promoter-based event, the alcohol and the timing of it as well.
I too was concerned about the sale of alcohol at this event. The thing that really caught my eye was the starting time, which was 5 a.m. I think we have to be very cognizant of the fact that we built that amphitheater right behind a lot of residential homes, basically in their backyards. And the one thing we want to do is we want to stay good neighbors. I think we've probably kept a pretty good relationship with those people. And one of the ways we've done that is not starting events at 5 a.m. So I'm just not sure if that's a very wise move. Is anybody here from this group tonight? No? Okay. So I echo Rob's concerns. Just my 2 cents. Anybody else have any questions, additional comments?
Well, what about the alcohol? They're not supposed to bring their own, but they can buy alcohol if you supply it from a approved vendor.
Assuming the event would be inclusive of alcohol, so that they would be, as far as I can read into it, I can't speak for them. the event would be inclusive of alcohol, so be an alcohol vendors there.
In the way the ordinances for the city are written, without the board's express approval, we cannot sell alcohol in the parks. And for them to do that, they would also have to have some of the third-party off-site sale permits, like Oak and Barrel has that, Malibu Run. They have specific state licenses to permit that, and the vendor would also have to have approval from the park board.
So obviously the paperwork they've submitted to us, they're not asking for approval to sell alcohol. They're just assuming that they are going to be allowed to sell alcohol if we approve this. So that's definitely a little hitch there. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve or deny the use agreement with Naptown Afro-Ganza.
So moved.
To approve or deny. Oh, you're just motion, I'm sorry. Been moved by Mr. Burt, need a second.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Mr. Burt?
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich?
Aye.
Mr. Prost?
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion fails.
All right, next is use agreement for Mizo Society of America. This is a fundraiser. I believe they've had fundraiser before in the park. Over in Freedom Park, September 23rd, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yep, September 23rd is at Freedom Park. The information that we have gathered from this. It is a tournament. Well, it's basically a pitch in. It is a gathering. It is just for fun. And there might be a couple teams playing the soccer fields as well. And there's no entry fees on that at all. So basically, it's really a rental, but what triggered the event was the amplified sound portion of it as well. So other than that, that is the only reason why we feel like it's triggered. Coming to you guys as far as an event notification, it will be handled as a rental on our end.
So they're planning on using the soccer field.
Correct.
Showgrounds.
Right. Correct.
Okay. I see the agreement reflects the fee for the soccer field.
Yes.
How long have we been doing this? Couple of years, maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
I've seen it at least twice, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Never had any grounds issues or anything like that.
Any other questions or comments?
The food sales, they're setting up food stands, food trucks. I don't
So
see anything about trucks.
is my understanding that it's basically a pitch in. There won't be any food trucks as far as our research is going. It will just be
Almost like a bake sale.
right.
Yeah. There will be food and beverages selling under the shelter. for fundraising. Anything else? Okay, here now, I need a motion to approve the use agreement with Mizo Society of America.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Dietrich, second by Mr. Prost. All those in favor, Mr. Prost?
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich?
Aye.
Mr. Burt?
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
All right. Next is the Run and Wrestle 5K Walk by Greenwood Wrestling. I believe this is also a fundraiser and get together for them on September 30th.
September 30th, 10 a.m. to noon, Freedom Park, where that's what we recommend and suggest all of our running events. We don't have any issues with this. It seems to be beneficiaries of the Greenwood Wrestling Program. Again, we don't have any issue, we don't see anything that would be of concern for the parks.
I believe Mr. Wheeler, the group is here tonight. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, other than if there's any questions, I'm here to answer any questions that would be associated with the event. as you say, a fundraiser. We're wanting to try to benefit the Greenwood Wrestling Program, which is K through 8. We want to try to get as many youth into the program as possible, and we like to keep the costs low. And so in order to keep the costs low, we like to do fundraisers like this. There's a lot of different programs surrounding the Greenwood community, wrestling programs where it may cost $200, $230, $250 for a child to enter into that wrestling program for the season. And I want to have a lot more youth. I want to make it more available to youth to where it's going to be less cost, to where families who are hit hard financially don't have to worry about keeping their child away from athletic events or sports in order to sit there and pay bills. I'd much rather get a kid in there and hopefully have them have a future in sports and instill that discipline and sportsmanship and camaraderie at a lower price. So this is the way that we do it. I've got a slew of other fundraisers, but this is the one that I present to you folks right now for Freedom Park. If this is a success, well, then I'd like to come back in here next year and maybe have a different route that includes more of our fine city in order to bring people in to hopefully not only promote Greenwood wrestling, but to promote the Greenwood community as a whole. So that's all I have for that.
If I have any questions or comments?
Where would you be set up at? Like, I mean, as far as, is there a check-in station or is there a gathering place that you guys kind of are going to focus on?
Well, I tell you what, I have access to Greenwood Middle School, and so preferably, since Freedom Park is where we're going to have to run at, to enter into Freedom Park, you've got to go past the middle school one way or another. And so I thought that in the parking lot there at the middle school, that would probably be an adequate check-in point. Still have parking there at Freedom Park, but yeah, as a check-in station, I think that's probably the most feasible. My goal is also, I've been soliciting food trucks from the surrounding area as well to set up to have a provide lunch or brunch, for people that are returning from the run and completing the run or walk. And so I thought that would probably be the best suitable location for that.
Anything else? Before we vote on this, I want to be clear about this. I've been associated with the wrestling club in one way or another for quite a while. I haven't been for a couple of years as my son's gotten older. But because I have an association, I know Mr. Wheeler, I am going to abstain from this vote. So, with that being said, make a motion to approve the use agreement for the running wrestling 5K at Freedom Park.
So moved.
Second it.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Prost. All in favor? Mr. Prost?
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich?
Aye.
Mr. Burton?
Aye.
And I abstain. So, good luck. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a purchase and installation agreement for K&K Fence at West Side Park, I believe, for wood fence along the road where they're
Yeah.
going to be paved also this summer.
So as you guys know, we've approved the milling down, full mill and the repaving of the West Side Road. Taking this opportunity to finish the project, completely finish the project. There's still split rail fence there. It's along there. It has been an initiative of ours to replace the split rail, i.e. get rid of it all completely, not putting it back in its place. Or in this case, because there is a geographical hazard there, we are going to put that back in with 6x, what they call 6x6 ball irons that are angle cut at the top. So that's what gets stuff under consideration. My K&K fence for $18,320.
So this is along the road next to the creek, basically.
Yeah, on the north side.
On the north side thing.
Yeah.
And
We
you
do
just,
have, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, you're just putting 6x6s in. There's not gonna be room between each 6x6.
No.
Okay. Which we've had that in other parks where we just use 6x6s.
We have. It seems to be a cleaner look.
Yeah.
It's easier to maintain.
since you brought it up, I was by West Side yesterday. Very excited to see the work getting done out there.
It's well overdue.
Oh, it's well overdue, and I think this will be personal opinion, I think this will be a nice feature when it's all said and done.
I agree.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the purchase and install agreement with K&K Fence to install 6x6 posts at West Side Park along the roadway.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
Next on the agenda is a contract for court maintenance by outdoor court specialists to repair the tennis basketball courts, or tennis court at Freedom Park, City Park, the basketball courts, and then the pickleball courts at Craig Park. Refinishing and restriping it.
Yeah, so sports courts, they require routine maintenance, tennis courts, outdoor basketball courts. So go into the weeds a little bit of what we were saying, City Center Park, the basketball court there, it's got significant cracks in it. It needs to be peeled back up and then resurfaced for $9,586.54. Pickleball courts at Craig Park, just staying up with the maintenance on that so it doesn't get too far. We've got a couple cracks that's developing there, sealing those up, and then putting the surface over the top of that for $1,200. And then Freedom Park tennis courts, again, we've got extensive cracks there that to be filled and resurfaced for $8,002.48. For a total, for your consideration, $18,788.68. If you have this is repairs and maintenance, it's in our operating.
Seems like an awful lot of repairs and maintenance for not very much money.
Well, I can speak to the highest priced item, I think on here was the basketball court at City Center Park. There was never any drainage put underneath there. It was built on the sheet. So that court has a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So,
And it is the original core.
yes, it still is. It's just one of those things. It's hazards of living in Indiana with the freeze and thaw. That court always was kind of I'm sure Rob can speak to it. It's always kind of a maintenance headache. So yeah, it's 9,500. And of course, tennis courts at Freedom Park, that's a big slab of asphalt. Questions, comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the service agreement with outdoor court specialist for resurfacing and crack sealing the City Center Park basketball courts, the pickleball courts at Craig Park, and the tennis courts at Freedom Park.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Prost.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries.
Next is a consideration of partnership agreement with the Sertoma Club of Greenwood for the 23, 24, 25, 2026 seasons at the Aquatic Center. Also, the contract calls for after the first 2 years, they can cancel or renegotiate their agreement if they want to switch over to a different, to the sports complex.
This is a renewal, basically, Sertoma's Free Springs partnership, expiring. They want to re-up out there. But they do know they still see some things, some horizons that may be coming in the future that they want to be completely open with, and that's why they've chosen to be able to opt out in a couple of years. They want to change up. We're completely receptive to that.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the partnership agreement with Sertoma Club for sponsorships at the River Springs.
So moved.
second,
Moved by Mr., excuse me, Pro, second by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
aye,
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
And the last use agreement for the big summer blowouts, family picnic get together for that group.
So we have done some research on this. We don't, again, other than like, I think the trigger was some of the amplified music. Other than that, it really just turns into a rental, which we could handle because the amplified sound that's triggered for your guys' consideration. Again, they won't be charging an admission fee. It's just basically, it's a pitch in, everyone brings their food, it's an organization. I think we believe to celebrate sobriety.
Craig Park, Shelter House #1.
Yes.
Yeah. Questions or comments?
So they decided not to use food trucks.
Correct. Correct.
Anything else? Okay, hearing nothing, need a motion to approve the use agreement for the big summer blowout. Katie Kappas at Craig Park Shelter House 1 on August 6th of this year.
So moved.
second,
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
aye,
I'm an aye also, motion carries. Thank you. Is that the last thing on the attorney's report?
That's the last thing I have.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of partnership agreement, Greenwood Fieldhouse for the Dasher boards.
We have a existing sponsorship, Fieldhouse, which is the beneficiary of that and the running of the matrix of that, it goes to the Greenwood Foundation. I asked for the park board to consider the naming or the company coming in for the partnership as approval. Citizens Bank would like to take the spot on the Dasher board that Ozip Pizza occupied. Believe you guys had photocopy of the location that would be. Just for your information, it's $1,350 a year for 2 years, directly going to the Greenwood Parks Foundation.
So is that $13.50 per group? So the $13.50 for citizens and $13.50 for Zip Pizza?
So Ozip chose not to renew
Oh,
there,
okay.
so Citizens Bank is taking their
Stepping
place.
up. So $13.50 per year for 2 years.
Correct.
Excuse me. Questions or comments?
Is that for all the Dasher board advertisements? This is one? Is there any more?
And
Available?
as per the photocopy, it illustrates just the one location.
Okay, this is the item we're voting on then, this location?
And the company name, the representation of private company.
Questions? Other questions? Any other comments? Okay, I need a motion to approve the partnership agreement with Citizens Bank for the sponsorships of the Dasher boards at Greenwood Fieldhouse, 2-year agreement for $1,350 per year for 2 years.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prost, second by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Mr. Prost,
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
aye,
I'm an aye also, motion carries.
So I can need to draft that agreement, so I don't think I have. It's fine. I won't.
It goes to the Parks Foundation.
Oh, so it's on, okay. So I
The
don't
board
need
was approving the association with the private name of citizens in the field house, of which we manage and operate. The partnership matrix is ran and organized by the foundation. Works for me.
Well, here we're good. Next item on the agenda is the, let's see, consideration of partnership matrix at the Greenwood Sports Park.
So long awaited, we've done the partnership matrix. As you know, it's very systematic in how we do these things. We start with Fruit Springs, which has been a success. It's been the Field House, again, which has been a success. We do the community center, also successful, and now onboarding is the Greenwood Sports Park. So it's another user fee-based facility that we are offering that private public partnership availability for to offset utility costs and maintenance costs, and also hopefully go towards future capital for parks and recreation and the sports park. As you guys can see through the handout, that we have a 300 field naming rights partner. That is per field, not per quad. And then the 225 field naming rights is per field as well. And then we have all outfields banner partner, and then just the 300 field banner partner. And then the 225 fields banner partner. And then we have a single impression line items as well. So we try to be inclusive as far as businesses and exposures for that private public partnership, and career wide dynamic range and diverse range for businesses to have an opportunity to impress on people.
Where do we come up with the numbers?
So, yeah, no, that's a great question. So we don't throw darts at them. So we find facilities that have similar demographic of ours as far as Greenwood based. We also find facilities that have similar size as ours. So in this case, it was 2 quads. This particular one, we kind of modeled off of a complex way down south, it was like Louisiana. So we reached out and talked to some people down in Louisiana, had very similar demographics, very, very similar size park and acreage, and similar offerings as ours as well, and kind of a similar business economic development around that particular facility as well. Now, it's not boilerplated off ours, so we take our own, we just use that as kind of a starting point, and we try to plug in our kind of own realistic market valuation on this.
We compared it to other places like in Indiana too, Fort Wayne, Kokomo, Noblesville. There are a few other ones around the state who also have sports parks similar to ours.
Ratul, Illinois, is very, very similar as well. We spoke to them today. So we certainly attempt to do our due diligence on putting this together. But that's a good question.
And all these parts that you looked at are close to the metropolitan areas, large
Yes, and
metropolitan
very
areas.
similar, yes, very similar population and demographic as ours as well.
I'm saying like, you're talking about the demographic of Greenwood, but I'm talking about the demographic of the Marion County area.
There's similarities, yeah,
Okay, so they're
But-
closer to bigger cities,
yes.
because these prices seem, just say, very reasonable.
Well, they are. And I think because we don't have any numbers, we don't have any ROI numbers.
It's a good starting point.
It's a good starting point. So are we, for your consideration, I'm willing to present we're willing to go in low. We're willing to present low in order to get 4 years under our belt. And then we can start proposing return on investment numbers and start reevaluating and revisiting this again. Is it low possibly for our market? Yes, there's probably people on my team that would agree with that as well. But I'm standing in front of you because I like.
Well, I was just gonna use the word reasonable.
Yeah, yeah, I think we are at a good entry point, and I think we could find really good partners with this. And I think it will help us establish those return on investment numbers we can then provide and in our portfolio that we can use for presentation in the coming years.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to commend the staff of the Parks Department for going out and not only presenting this information to us, but going out and chasing down these sponsorships. That's hard work.
It is challenging, and when I say that, I mean, Jen does an absolutely spectacular job. I mean, our partnership, I mean, I don't know if you guys, Greenwood has just become known for its partnership. We have departments calling us to asking us how we do our private-public partnerships. So that is a big kudos to Jen and everyone else in the marketing team on how we put things together. Because it's sought after. A lot of communities trying to figure out how we're doing it.
And can you just remind everybody, specifically me, how many 300-foot fields do we have?
So we have 2 quads, okay, and then so each quad's obviously 4 fields. We have 4 300-foot fields.
You have it all the advertisements taken up by the time you open up, or is this something that'll take
At this
time?
time, I'm not gonna talk timelines or partnerships or anything like
Just
that.
do it as it comes.
No pressure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I think this is a great starting point.
And that's a great way to put it. We can build on this.
It looks great out there.
It sure does.
Come on.
Was out there over the weekend.
Man.
Very impressive. Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the partnership matrix for the Greenwood Sports Park.
So moved.
Second,
Been moved by Mr. Prost, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Prost.
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
aye.
I am an aye also. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda tonight is trails.
I don't have any updates for trails.
I have filed condemnation actions on the 3 trails since our last meeting.
Those parcels.
The 3 parcels on Ridge Top.
Internal name, we're calling it the AES Trail. It's between county line, Fry Road.
Next item on the agenda, other business from the public.
Right, hello, Park Board. My name is Mike Williams, actually a part of the Greenwood City Council representing District 3. Here today to speak on behalf of my constituents. So very timely with the talking of everything happening over at the Worsville Sports Park. Very awesome project, very exciting project, and excited to see it come to fruition and be finalized here in the next few months. The reason I wanted to come before you guys today is to ask for your consideration while we're talking about naming rights for these fields. One of the other great aspects of this project is going to be the first cricket pitch that is going to be in Greenwood, Indiana. So I know I had a chance to talk with Rob about 4 years ago about the need for cricket in Greenwood with the large population of Sikhs, especially there on the east side of town. So one of the things that the Sikh community was hoping for was with this first cricket pitch opening in Greenwood would be to not necessarily have naming rights to the entirety of the field, but in memorial of a very popular human rights activist from the Sikh community to honor him through memorial of the naming of that cricket pitch. So I'm not for sure what that would look like signage wise or how that would be marked. But I was hoping there might be something in the naming partnership, but there wasn't. So I want to make sure we come tonight to talk a little bit about that opportunity. So not typically one to say things are going well in California, we should copy that. But the individual Jaswant Singh that they are hoping to memorialize through the cricket pitch the city of Fresno, California, actually named one of their largest parks in honor of this gentleman as well. So it's not just who's this person, no one's ever heard of him before, just to kind of give you their precedent. Fresno, California has actually memorialized him through their park system that took place in 2018. So again, obviously cricket is a huge cultural aspect. I think this is going to be an awesome opportunity for the Sikh community to be more welcomed and involved through our parks. Again, this is the first opportunity that they're going to have that. If you guys travel through Greenwood on a Saturday, you'll see they're making do. Right now, between the Grassy Creek Elementary and Middle School, you guys can see the nice little square that they've worn out, making that into a make-do cricket pitch, even out at Homecoming University Park there in the grass area. They're doing their best, even in a small area. So again, it's a super exciting opportunity for this cricket pitch area to come alive, to have an area for them to bring their sport firsthand and let people see it, and hopefully grow the sport and their culture here in Greenwood. And hopefully you guys would consider the opportunity to also bring that community closer and to make them feel welcome in the city of Greenwood by allowing them that opportunity to memorialize that human rights activist who's fought for the Sikh community internationally as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch, what was the gentleman's name?
Jaswant Singh.
Okay.
So he was fought for the Sikhs in India. Sadly, he was murdered by the Indian government in 1995. So it's one of their biggest prominent human rights activists who fought back against some of the genocides that took place in the 1980s with the Punjabi population.
So is there a cricket facility in Greenwood?
There will be on the multi-purpose field portion, will be the cricket pitch installation. That'll be the first one. Many more to come, right, Rob? I won't hold you to that, but.
Well, when the Sikhs first migrated to this community and started assimilating, they were playing out where the Department of Public Works property is. And my experience at that time was they were a very easy group to work with. And they were very appreciative just to have a place that they could use. So I think this goes a long way with making them feel more welcome that we decided to do this time.
Yeah, and I've learned just through communications with them that cricket is very wide, big sport for their community. Columbus, Indiana actually has multiple pitches in one of their parks. They have teams that travel from Ohio over here to play and everything as well. So yeah, I can tell you the Sikh community in Greenwood is very excited for this opportunity to grow their sport in Greenwood.
The actual space is a pitch take. I know the
Pitch
pitch is 22
So
yards.
the physical pitch is something, I'm gonna get my dimensions wrong, okay, so excuse me if you Google it, I'm gonna be wrong. But it's going to be like 6 or 8 feet wide by 60 feet long, okay? That's the physical pitch, right? So that's when you have your wickets and you have your batsman and you have your bowler, okay? And then that's what they use. The actual, but they play on an oval as well, which we cannot provide, right? We just don't have the landmass or the popularity engaged with the sport providing an independent cricket facility. So the oval, I do not know the dimensions on that.
Yeah,
But the reality of it is this gives them an opportunity with the pitch. It allows the batsman, a wicket that sets up, it allows a bowler to do their thing, bat. And you can get semi kind of like competitive games going on the space that we've allocated.
So you pitch a ball and you
You bowl.
yeah,
And I know it's semantics, but there's a difference from the
You
term.
bowl a ball and you
You
hit it with
bowl
a
it,
stick.
and it's a weird kind of throwing motion and it bounces. And the batsman's main role is to protect the wicket, which is it's sticks that have things on top of it. If the ball hits it, batter's out, or if the batsman is deemed like he's blocking the wicket with his leg or his arm, then he's out as well.
Okay,
I
so
only know this because of my experience with overseas.
that was actually a pretty good way of.
I didn't think you knew anything about it.
I know more than I should about cricket. It's
Talk
almost
everything
embarrassing.
about-
so you'll be putting together the city team for the league?
I've actually played. Yeah,
Okay,
It sounds fun. I'll
Yeah,
have
it
to look
does.
into it.
it's a
it's fun.
huge, there's a big tournament called the Ashes. I believe it's in Australia and England. It's a great tournament. India is a great big, they're huge. South Africa, New Zealand, very big.
So.
Awesome.
Tournament field? This- cost would be involved. I'm not necessarily looking for the cost for naming rights like we would a sponsorship. I mean, just for whatever amenities would go out there to
Have a plan?
commemorate the naming rights.
So I think, well, so what I'd like to say is my 2 cents is, I think the board needs to take time to consider how this needs to be done, if it's to be done.
Yeah.
Because you would be setting the precedent. We haven't had a precedent of where we memorialize community amenities in Greenwood. There isn't.
Right.
There isn't one. So I think there needs to be some special consideration on how the Parks and Recreation Department wants to go about doing that.
And that brings up a bigger picture that, since you brought that up, it's something that's always been on my mind, is because we don't memorialize
We do not.
parcels of land, parks, whatever you want to call them, or facilities within those parks. Over the years, those things have been, I've had those kind of ideas tossed out to me, and it's always just kind of died on the vine.
Right.
Maybe this is an opportunity to
Yep.
explore that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So would this be a situation of directing staff to come up with some parameters?
I
Not
mean,
just
I
with the-
think the city would have to make a policy on how we name things.
Okay,
So I don't think, again, that, as Rob was saying, the only thing I can think of, would name something after anyone is probably stripped away.
right.
In my mind, that's one that comes up, that's a road. I think that may be something the mayor would have to formulate on and have the council approve of a policy or how we do that. I mean, I think it would probably be within the Parks Board, the authority to name a building something.
Because we certainly
But
have, from a department standpoint, as Drew was saying, we have absolutely no precedent for this whatsoever.
So we really can't vote on it, then we just make. a
Well, I think
recommendation to
what
the city?
I personally think, and attorney could correct me if I'm wrong, I think we need to direct the staff,
I think you take it under consideration.
well, or just to come back with some more specifics with us on this specific issue.
That's fair enough.
Work with Mr. Williams, or work with the Sikh community, and bring us back some more specifics. I think the flavor of the board is something, speaking for the board, if I'm wrong, correct me, is I don't think this is necessarily something we're opposed to. Seem to be more receptive of it. So if you came back to us with some specifics, I think that would be able to, we could point it in that direction, and then we can either say yes or no, depending on the advice from legal. My opinion. If anybody has anything else to say?
Well, I don't think tonight's not the time.
No, we obviously don't have enough specifics.
And I wasn't expecting a
Sure.
finalization, again, taking it under consideration and asking.
I would think you can go back to your constituents and say it was received favorably by the board. Anybody disagree with that?
No,
No,
And it might be something we need to notice for public comment, because
Sure.
maybe other people in the district or the community want to put in ideas or
And
express what they just think about it in general.
yeah, and there's other officials in the city who probably want to be aware of this before any issues or anything is moved on with us. So,
But appreciate the consideration.
thank you. Appreciate you bringing it to us. Any other business from the public? Nope. Just have visitors tonight. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Any other business from the park board? Again, I was out at West Side, so excited to see that work done. Was up at the pickleball course today. Love the new shelter up there.
Yeah.
I talked to some people over the weekend who played up there, and they were so happy that shelter's there. So kudos to the staff on that again.
Couple other project updates, Northeast Park, new shelter house going up there, and we are at 95% CVs for proposed pickleball complex at Free Park. Well, hopefully that goes out to bid this summer.
Members should have got a copy, or in their packets, they should have got a copy of the claim sheets. If there's no additions or corrections to that, it will stand as presented. If there's no other business come before this board tonight, this meeting is adjourned.